Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Brian. It's the weekend roundup. We did it! All right, guys, let's talk about Artifact. Remember Artifact? It came out in late 2018. It was Valve's attempt to capitalize on the lucrative collectible card game craze. Problem is, nobody wanted a card game from Valve. You might remember at the unveiling, it got booed. Roll the footage. Okay, but it's been a while now. Let's check, see how Artifact's doing. Maybe people have jumped on board. Oh wow, in the last 30 days it averaged just over 100 players, yikes. Even worse, people have noticed that Valve seems to have abandoned it. The game has gone for more than a year without any updates. Now, let me put this in perspective. For any game, that would probably raise eyebrows, but a card game, that's really bad because card games, they're basically living, breathing things. They have to be updated constantly. The meta changes, cards need to be readjusted, nerfed. Hearthstone, to use an example, I play way too much Hearthstone. It's getting updated constantly. New cards, they're tweaking stuff, whatever. A card game, basically I'm saying it's not just something you ship and forget about, but maybe that's what happened with Artifact, because besides its announcement getting booed, when it finally did launch, Artifact got off to a really bad start. There were things like pricing of cards. The overall game economy was terrible. Like, you didn't get a lot of free stuff with Artifact. If you might remember, for 20 bucks, you only got 2 starter decks and 10 packs. If you wanted more, you had to spend $2 a pack. There wasn't like a gold option like in Hearthstone, which lets you earn free currency to buy more cards, but not spend actual money. You could participate in special events in Artifact to get packs, but those cost money too. The tickets did. So it was just really expensive from the jump. Oh, and then cards started showing up on the Steam market, and some of the rare ones cost more than the actual game. It was a disaster. So yeah, it got review bombed. Its player base dropped off a cliff. It had a peak of about 60,000 players. Now we're at around 100 a day or less. They've certainly done less than that. In March of last year, Valve kind of wrote an apology called Towards a Better Artifact. They vowed to fix things. They acknowledged the game's poor reception, and they said Artifact represents the largest discrepancy between our expectations for how one of our games would be received and the actual outcome. That makes sense. It was a pretty epic bomb, but Valve said they were going to dig into the core issues of the game and fix them. They wrote, "It has become clear that there are deep-rooted issues with the game and that our original update strategy of releasing new features and cards would be insufficient to address them. Instead, we believe the correct course of action is to take larger steps to re-examine the decisions we've made along the way regarding game design, the economy, the social experience of playing, and more." They said basically going forward, they were going to focus on the big problems rather than updates, and they said it would take a significant amount of time. And boy, they weren't kidding, because again, we haven't heard from them since. So maybe Valve has a team somewhere working hard to bring back Artifact, but it's also possible they've just decided to move on and let the game die. I mean, there's only so much work you can put into something that's drawing 100 players a day, especially if you're the size of Valve. Plus, they got Half-Life Alyx coming up soon. That's probably where their focus is right now. There's even a website called Is Artifact Dead? And it concludes, yeah, it's dead. Plus, also, I forgot to mention, there's other card games out there that are doing much better. Ben, tell us about that.
This year, there's going to be a ton of card games coming out digitally. Like, Hearthstone's killing it. They have an expansion this year. They have solo adventures coming out.
They got expansions all the time,
but yeah. Battlegrounds, like new modes that are keeping players coming back. League of Legends just announced their card game, and it's in open beta, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So, like, people are just jumping in on that. It's a very pretty game, and so far I don't believe it costs anything. And Magic the Gathering just came out and laid out a whole roadmap for their development. They've been in early access for, I think, over a year now.
It's just really crowded. I feel like Hearthstone was kind of the big dog, and then everybody else jumped on board, or at least a lot of the big brands, but this has been an epic bomb for Valve.
It'd be better for Valve just to drop the game entirely and release it as a new thing if they were going to
Yeah, so while nothing's official yet as of right now, Artifact kind of looking like the biggest flop Valve's ever made, RIP. On the bright side, if you're one of the 100 or so people who still play, cards are really cheap right now on the Steam market. I looked, pennies. So Yeah, go get you some cards that you can play with by yourself, apparently. All right, moving on. Doom Eternal's coming out in a few months. Good news, it won't have microtransaction. Reddit user Onyx Workshop found a Facebook comment from creative director Hugo Martin, who said there's no store in the game. The only thing you can unlock with XP is cosmetics. Martin added, Eternal is a $60 game, not a free-to-play game or mobile game. We are giving you a complete experience with no store, just like you'd expect. Unlocking skins with XP is part of the experience if you care about that stuff, or you can completely ignore it and it will have no impact on your experience at all, and it's free. What? A AAA game with no microtransactions? What is the world coming to? Giving us $60 worth right from the jump? Man, that could really catch on. Doom Eternal, it's out March 20th. Is Sunset Overdrive 2 in the works? Oh, yes, please. Well, Insomniac Games might have teased it. They recently tweeted out a picture of a monster that looks pretty Sunset Overdrive-ish. It looks like a big, I don't know, squid with a venereal disease. They also had the caption, that looks infected. If you might remember the first Sunset Overdrive, it was great. It was one of the best reasons to own an Xbox One. Still is, but you might remember that Insomniac was also bought by Sony recently, so maybe it would come as a PS5 exclusive. On the other hand, Insomniac surely is working on a Spider-Man sequel, so we'll see. If a Sunset Overdrive sequel is a real thing, though, I will play it wherever it releases. If it releases on the Vita, I will play it on there. Moving on, Google Stadia has been in the news recently after players complained that Google has been slow to give them any news about future games or updates. It all blew up in a Reddit post earlier this week, which claimed at the time that it had been 40 days since anyone had heard anything from Google. Well, Google has responded. They told GamesIndustry.biz that they actually have been communicating through weekly updates on the Stadia community forum, as well as regular recaps on something called the Google Keyword Blog. So it's y'all's fault for not reading those, apparently. They also addressed the upcoming 120 games that they said are coming to Stadia this year, and the fact that they haven't really elaborated on what those games would be. That understandably has made people a little nervous, a little reluctant, because Stadia right now, it just doesn't have that many games. They've got like 40 or so on their page, but a lot of those haven't even come out yet. Well, Google said that not all 120 titles will be announced by the Stadia team, as we leave it up to the publishers to make the announcement about their games. They added, we will continue to work closely with our publishing and developing partners and are here to support them in all areas. We're excited to share more about some of the exclusive games coming to Stadia soon. No, you're obviously not excited because you haven't been sharing anything. Also, January's done, so now you got 11 months to release all these games. It's a mess. All right. Finally, the coronavirus outbreak in China is impacting the game industry in a lot of ways. Now, obviously, let me qualify this. People have died. That's way more important than any video games, but it is having ripple effects in our universe. I just read this morning the Taipei Game Show got canceled. Also, Nintendo CEO Shuntaro Furukawa says it's affecting the production of Switches in China. That makes sense. Blizzard canceled Overwatch League games that were planned for February and March to, quote, protect the health and safety of our players, fans, and staff. Meanwhile, the virus has sparked interest in the old Outbreak sim management game Plague Inc. Now, the developer actually had to comment on this. They wrote that this happens apparently whenever there's an outbreak of a disease, but they added, please remember that Plague Inc. is a game, not a scientific model, and that the current coronavirus outbreak is a very real situation which is impacting a huge number of people. We would always recommend that players get their information directly from local and global health authorities. Yeah, good advice. Don't try to war game this with a game or anything. Just be careful out there. Ugh, that virus is scary. All right, moving on. Let's do a 5-second review. I really, really wanted this to be good. All right, moving on. Let's get to the games coming out next week. First up, Zombie Army 4 Dead War. Hitler's hordes are back for more in this spine-chilling shooter from the makers of Sniper Elite 4. Occult enemies, epic weapons, and a harrowing new campaign for 1 to 4 players await in 1940s Europe as you fight to save humankind from undead Armageddon. The Resistance have defeated zombie Hitler and cast him into hell. That seems good. But the dead rise once again with greater hunger than before. Continue the alternate history of the Zombie Army trilogy in huge new levels and uncover a sinister plan that takes the Survivor Brigade across Italy and beyond. Fight the forces of darkness in corpse-riddled canals, survive a zombie zoo, and journey to dark, inescapable places no person has been before and live to tell the tale. Harness the power of fire, lightning, and divine essence to upgrade your guns at workbenches and create homespun Hellraisers. An assault rifle that shoots lightning? A pistol with a flaming bayonet? Yeah, it kind of sounds like Borderlands. Anything goes in Humankind's Last Stand. It comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, February 4th. Next up, Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 3. The only Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship video game. It's back, guys. Everything is official, from real teams to the training compound. Monster Energy Supercross 3 is the exact replica of the Supercross world. Relive the 2019 AMA Monster Energy Supercross season with 100 riders of both 450 Supercross and 250 Supercross categories, 15 official stadiums and tracks, and for the very first time, race with the official Supercross teams of the 2019 championship in the career mode. Challenge your friends, create, share, and download an infinite number of tracks with the limitless track editor. Unleash your creativity to create the track of your dreams, or vote and download the one you like the most. There's new ground and in-air physics, new rider models, new animations. They'll give you a more immersive experience to enjoy the Supercross world at its best. It's out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia. There's Stadia got one, February 4th. In the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance tactics, you will lead a fledgling resistance of Gelflings against their oppressive overlords, the Skeksis, across more than 50 unique turn-based tactics RPG battles. Ooh, I love tactics games. Along the way, you will recruit and customize new allies by assigning them jobs, modifying their abilities, and outfitting them with equipment to ensure victory. There's 14 playable characters, including familiar faces from the classic film and the new Netflix original series. You build your own teams, devise winning strategies to overthrow the rule of the Skeksis, and restore light to the Gelflings' homeworld of Thra. It comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One and Switch, February 4th. The Blind Prophet is a point-and-click game where you will play Apostle Bartholomeus in his divine mission to liberate the corrupted city of Rotbork and brave the great evil that lurks within. Although he's used to executing his duty, shouldn't be as easy this time. There's free exploration in 99 hand-drawn panels with tiny details waiting for you to discover. It's got a strong storyline, but not without humor, they say. Unique comic book art style. There's various puzzles, challenges, and mini-games. It's out for PC, February 5th. Kunai is described as a ninja Metroidvania. Start out with nothing, progress and increase in strength by killing enemy robots to unlock abilities, weapons, and ninja tricks. Explore a world filled with secrets, hidden passages, and mysterious character. Kunai is all about movement and agility. Use your ninja mobility to reach places where no normal robot could ever go. Explore the different pixel art environments of Kunai, each with a minimalistic palette, while Tabby makes cute faces. Use a variety of ninja tricks to move around the world and unleash your deadly arsenal of weapons. Fight your way through armies of evil machines, rogue androids, and mindless mechs. It's out for PC and Switch, February 6th. And finally, Scourgebringer is described as a fast-paced, free-moving, roguelike platformer. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious entity wreaked havoc on all humanity. Scourgebringer puts you in the shoes of the deadliest warrior of her clan, Kyra. Help her explore the unknown and slash her way through ancient machines guarding the seal of her past and maybe the redemption of humanity. That would be nice. Dive into fast-paced rogue platforming gameplay. It's described by Eurogamer as Dead Cells meets Celeste. Slash and shoot your way smoothly with super fluid platforming controls. Sharpen your skills with a frantic combat system focused on attacks. Defy hordes of unspeakable enemies and giant bosses holding the secrets of the Scourge, and explore the infinite depths of an ever-changing dungeons. Uncover mysteries and find mementos of previous explorers to unlock reality-defining secrets. It is coming to early access February 6th. That's it. That's all the news we've got for you this week. I hope you have a great week coming up. Be good to yourself. I love you. Bye.
Valve made headlines recently for doing what a game studio is supposed to do. Make video games.
What? Over the last several years, Valve was much more interested in selling games than anything else. Oh, and making peripherals that everybody loves.
Psych, nobody. RIP Steam controller.
I can't believe no one wanted a controller with no joysticks.
It's